that they didn't want to be a part of the
add it to stream.
Stop.
They're gonna join now.
Camera.
Yeah, it did.
Now add that box to stream.
Yeah, it is.
It shouldn't show any camera, but now they'll be able to hear it. And then when you want to bring their camera in, just hit start cam.
The WSGW audio wasn't.
Okay, now you guys, do you guys want to pop up?
Yeah, just join them now.
Do we turn press this button on or anything?
No.
No, I will.
We'll take care of that.
Probably headphones will allow you to hear everything, but I mean, it's if one of you want to
Just
take.
need to hear you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Everything's in here. So you know.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. I'm so sorry.
Now they
That's all
can
right.
hear.
I'm so
It's
sorry.
recorded, right?
They can hear now.
Isn't that
Just,
recorded it for audio? Yeah.
Yep.
just so you know, they can hear us now.
Yeah, like everything was recording and like everything like that. It's just
Okay.
No, I mean they can hear us now.
well,
Online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you guys were muted the entire time while you guys are talking about. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Ask people, let us know if they can.
You're listening to United Shades of Grey on WSGW.
This is Kareem. We're back with more United Shades of Grey, conversations of race in America. We certainly want to thank you guys for tuning in, and those of you who are sticking with us through our technical difficulties.
The lip reader stuck with us.
I just want to say we have a new posting for intern here at WSGW. No, I'm just joking, Matt. Great job at figuring it out. Some technical difficulties. Our normal guys in the studio. We got Matthew here, who's one day beyond graduation. Matt, hold your head up. It gets brighter. Even Mark makes mistakes.
I made a lot of worse mistakes than that. You'll learn from that.
Dr. Mark Bassett. But we're in the studio today. Today we're going to be talking about a particular company in the area who is making changes to really speak to the needs of the community for today. And we have in the studio, Mark, I'll let you do the introduction.
Sure. And full disclosure, for everybody in the audience who doesn't know, I used to work at this company, so I've worked closely with our two guests, Brooke Beebe and Raquel Ledesma from Hemlock Semiconductor. Welcome, ladies. Maybe you guys can just spend a couple minutes introducing yourselves, who you are, what you do, and a little bit about the company.
Well, can we start first?
Sorry.
No.
Yeah.
No, let's do that. But let's start. Can you guys adjust your mics so that? Yeah.
Sorry.
There we go.
Yeah.
We got. There we go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now we can see.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead. Yeah. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves, Mark? You can continue.
Go ahead, ladies.
Yeah, sure. Okay, great. Hi. So it's great to be here. I have to say, knowing both of you, outside of the studio, it's very fun to sit here and hear the two of you banter and have these great discussions. So thanks very much for having us here today. It's really fun to be in the studio with you. I'm Brooke Beebe. I'm the Senior Vice President of Advocacy and Engagement for Hemlock Semiconductor. I've been with the company for a little over 5 years, and through some really interesting times. And so I'm very excited to be here and talk a little bit more about Hemlock today. So thanks for having me.
And thank you so much for having me as well. So Raquel Ledesma Bettis, I have been at Hemlock Semiconductor for a little over 2 years now, and it has been a completely different experience for me, and it has been absolutely wonderful as the diversity and community liaison for the company. Before this, I was in nonprofit and education, so this was like an excellent fit to just come in and to continue do good work in our community and just being that advocate for our community as well as for Hemlock Semiconductor with all of our folks. So thank you so much for having us, and we're excited to chat more about what we're doing.
Great. I mean, So again, we've got a broad audience from locally to Joliet. We've actually had people from Norway and India chat in. Maybe you could just tell us a little bit about what the company does and where it's located, because even in this area, people
Yeah.
often don't frequently know much about the company or where it's at.
Where's that company again?
where
Hemlock
is
is
it?
it?
What is that?
Hemlock
What do they do?
Semiconductor.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that'll lead into what we talk about a little bit more today, too. So we are located in the western part of Saginaw County, rural area of Saginaw County. We've been there since 1961, and Hemlock it's a really exciting place to be, I have to say. We are at the foundation of two really, really important industries for the future of the world. So we're the foundational material. We make a material called polysilicon, and it is the foundation of the semiconductor industry as well as the solar industry. And so we we connect and energize the world through what we're doing at Hemlock. When you think about semiconductors, really the foundation of every electronic device is a semiconductor. It's the brains of what makes electronic devices work. Yeah, you're holding your smartphone in your hand. It is filled with semiconductors, and at the core of those semiconductors is polysilicon. And so it's exciting to be part of change in the world as the world becomes more connected and advanced, and we are enabling that through our technology. Similarly, solar, right? Solar energy and clean energy is the future, and our polysilicon is at the heart of solar panels and what makes them work. And so it's an exciting an exciting time to be at an exciting place, and we're growing and have a lot of interesting things happening. And so it's a
great time to be Hemlock Semiconductor.
It is.
There's been good times and there's been bad
There's been
times.
good times and bad times. Yes. Yeah.
So the reason we asked you to come in, multiple reasons, but what prompted us, I think, was there's been a couple recent announcements that we saw in the news. One around is it the star system, and then a collaboration with the governor around daycare, which I think our point of view is really nice to see, and wanted to just hear. And we haven't seen a lot of that, frankly, from other local companies. And wanted to hear from you all what those programs are, why you're doing them, and what you hope to gain from doing that.
Mark, in addition to that,
Yeah.
and I think it's the evolution of the changes that are taking place. I was fortunate to be kind of like a part of the conversation starting in 2020 and seeing, hey, you were at the helm at the time saying, hey, these are some things that we would love to see, and setting some metrics, one for employment and fighting for your employers, bringing them in. Let's start there, Brooke, really, because that's a huge change that we don't talk about.
Yeah, sure. So I'd love to talk about that. So as you mentioned, I mean, we've undergone a really big change in the last couple of years. So for many years in Hemlock's history, we had a big portion of our manufacturing process that we worked with a third party on. So we had a third party on site that was essentially a contractor doing what we call our finishing and packaging part of our process. It's the last part of making polysilicon. It's the last thing that happens.
I would say it's like the heart of our company. That's where the magic happens.
It's the last thing that happens before we send product to the customer. And we looked at that a couple of years ago and decided we wanted to make a change, and we wanted to bring those employees into the Hemlock family. And so that was but that's a large number of people. So
that's huge. Yeah. No.
We had, at that time, I don't know, 400 or 500, it's several hundred people that were part of this third party operation on our site that we wanted to bring into Hemlock for a lot of reasons. I mean, one huge reason is to have a one team mentality, right? We're all ultimately trying to serve our customers, and we wanted to have really a one team approach across the site, not a Hemlock, folks and then these other folks. We're all working to create the best product for our customers. And so, we wanted to have a one team mentality. the folks doing that work are the last people to touch the product before it goes to the customer. So, we wanted to make sure that everybody's on the same page and working with the same incentives. One of the great things about bringing those that group of employees into Hemlock is that it opened up a lot of opportunities as well for us to be able to have a better pipeline internally. So, prior to that, it was you had not the same kind of opportunities to move within the company. So now bringing people into the Hemlock family, you have opportunities when you start in the finishing and packaging area to look at other positions within the company. You've got the same benefits, you've got the same package, everybody's doing the same trainings, and we're all speaking the same language, and it's better for everybody. It's better for the employees, it's better for us.
I think one of the coolest things from a person like myself is really creating an opportunity for a more diverse workplace. And that's what you're saying. And so if you're a part of a staffing service and then there's this company over here, there's a disconnect, and you guys actually kind of built a bridge. So there is a place for someone who's working in one part of the industry to go to the others. A part of that process was the bringing in someone like Raquel.
Yeah.
And in your new position, Raquel, how are you navigating the ropes and in terms of helping to build a more inclusive place at Hemlock?
I would say the biggest conversation we've had is equity versus equality.
Okay.
How are we making our workplace more equitable? That means that we're providing services that aren't for necessarily everybody, but for the folks that might need a couple of extra things in different spaces. And so I think that's what's really driven us to really look at different programs to uplift our folks. You can't be your best self at work if you have other things going on in the background. And so we want to make sure that we're providing wraparound services and opportunities for our folks to be their best self, so that they can be they can come to work, they can feel comfortable, they can leave happy, and then also comfortable when they start to look for those other opportunities at the site.
So is that why you went out and implemented these 2 new programs, was to try to create that?
I was a huge champion for a lot of different programs.
All right,
but champion for our
say a little
folks.
bit
So
more
let's talk about
talk a little bit more about those
STARS.
2 programs.
Yeah. So we're out in the community. We hear what our community is telling us and what our employees are telling us. And one of those things that came out of this was transportation. To me, Hemlock Semiconductor is, Hemlock's down the road for me. It's about a 15-minute drive, but that's a luxury for me to be able to drive to and from work.
Absolutely.
And transportation is definitely a need in our community because we don't have things that are just right around our area where we can just walk there. Public transportation is still, I think, one of the things that we can get to in our community, but it's not there yet. But our folks needed transportation. It is expensive for some folks to pay for a car payment, insurance. It's taking time out of your day to get to and from. And if you are a home maybe that only has one vehicle, how are you sharing that vehicle? And so that's kind of where we were coming from as why we needed transportation. And so we were able to work with our friends at STARS to create such a bus line, and that HSC now subsidized for our employees that utilize it. And there's 3 pickup spots in the Saginaw area for folks to jump on, and they can go right to work, get out, do their shift and come right back. And we're hoping that that's going to eliminate a barrier and also attract, talent for us in the future. If you don't have a vehicle, don't let that stop you, because here are other options that we're going to provide for you, so that way we can make you have this opportunity.
You talked about equity over equality.
Mm-hmm.
And so really what you guys are doing is systematically removing some of the barriers that people are having to employment. I know one of those other things, which I am so glad to hear you guys doing something about, and Mark alluded to, is childcare.
Yep. So childcare is another one of those things. It's a barrier. I mean, I have 2 under 2 right now. I have a 12-year-old that doesn't need childcare, but I know that we live in we're in a childcare desert. It's not easy to come by, and it's expensive. if you want quality childcare, you're going to have to pay for it. And so one of the things that we were able to look at is the opportunity from the state as the Tri-Share program. And that's where our state will will pay 1/3 of childcare costs. The employee will pay 1/3, and the employer, like HSC, will pay for 1/3 of childcare costs. And that will bring down the cost for childcare down, a lot for folks. If you're only paying for 1/3 versus, the whole entire amount.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like an average cost for childcare is about $200 a week for one child. So imagine if you have, several littles in childcare, those things really add up. So providing that little bit of opportunity to just take that burden, that financial burden off of folks, again, you're going to be a much happier employee if you have one less thing to think about when you're coming to work. And so we're really excited to see that get off the ground, have a lot of support in our community and from the state. And we're, looking forward to seeing other ways too that we can help remove barriers for our employees.
Maybe I'll direct this next question, at least initially, to Brooke. I mean, one of the couple of the topics Kareem and I have talked about before on the show is the growing kind of income gap, the spread between well-paid and middle class, as an example, and what, if any, role corporations have in addressing that or leveling the playing field a little bit. And maybe I thought, I don't know if HSC has a quote unquote official position, but maybe you could talk about Hemlock's view of their role in the community and what is their responsibility to help improve the community and to give opportunities to a broader range of people.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, first and foremost, I think, we view our role as being a job provider, right? That we have opportunities, and we have a huge range of opportunities available at Hemlock, from, entry-level roles that require, a high school education or GED, up to, we have PhD scientists and sort of everything, in between, right? So there's
Dr. Mark.
So that's one piece. But I think, certainly I would say at our core, we definitely take our role in the community very seriously, and it's very top of mind. We think of it in terms of responsibility, right? So we feel like we have a responsibility to use resources wisely, and to, protect resources that are available to us, whether that's, the environment, whether that's our people and the people of our community as well. And so we spend a lot of time and energy focused on what we're doing to make this a better place to live and work and play for our employees, for the people of this community. And we do that in a number of ways. So one program that has been really fun to see grow and blossom is we started what we call our CARE committee a few years ago. CARE's our Community and Regional Empowerment Fund. We have set up some funds through the community foundations in Saginaw Bay and Midland. And then we have a group of employees who ultimately make the decisions on what gets funded through those foundation funds. And I have to tell you, it's been just really rewarding to see that again flourish. We have a lot of really, really interesting applications for funds. It's very cool to see different things that organizations, people are doing within this community, these three communities, these multiple communities, to make things better. And the folks within our CARE committee, I think, find it also really empowering and rewarding to be part of that decision making, and around where Hemlock money is being spent to support community initiatives.
It's really a cool opportunity and a sense of pride when you're listening to something on the radio and it says sponsored by Hemlock Semiconductor, and you're hearing your name in the community, supporting some of the initiatives that are happening in the community. I know that we're talking there, but I want to go back to something that we were talking earlier that I think is super impactful, and that our community needs to know. And that is the change from a staffing service to making your employees, HSC employees, Hemlock Semiconductor employees, some of the benefits. Let's talk about the benefits that your employees are now not just for upward mobility, but also financially, the economic packages that are available. Let's talk some of those things.
Sure.
So there's a handful of benefits now that our employees can get. For anybody that's even just coming in, our benefits start on day one. And for a lot of folks, there's usually maybe you get like a 30-day or 90-day window before your benefits will kick in. Our benefits start on day one so that they're getting access to EAP programs, our
EAP, Employee Assistance
Oh
Program.
yeah, I was gonna say we can't use.
sorry.
I'm sitting over here like EAP,
You're right, yeah.
EAP.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
no.
It's like if counseling or different types of.
Okay.
So we have like our health benefits. We have adoption services available. If I'm just trying to think, there's so many.
401k, right? A
401ks,
retirement program that Hemlock contributes to match employee
And the salary
contributions.
has changed as well.
Yeah, exactly. I would say entry level is around $19 an hour for just entry level employment, and that's again with a GED or high school diploma. You can really start off your career there, and then again,
What's a starting
it's local.
engineer start at? So that would be an hourly worker coming in with like a
Mhm.
GED, doing at the lowest kind of level job is, you said $19 an hour,
Yeah.
but with medical insurance, 401k program, and all the other benefits. So like an engineer or a young professional, what do you think? That's $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year?
I would say that's a fair number.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And so I think that's exciting. Not only that, but you guys have been, one of the issues now is, what do we do now that Michigan has voted to legalize marijuana? Have you guys come up with any solutions for people as it relates to that particular issue?
Sure, I'll go ahead. Yep. So
Like rock,
obviously,
paper,
we're,
scissors
right?
here.
We're a manufacturing site, so I mean, there's no change in our policy in terms of impairment at work, right?
Right.
So you can't come, to work impaired.
Can't come toasted.
Yes.
Or
Yep.
drunk or anything.
Right, or anything,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
But what we have done is we've eliminated the test for marijuana as part of the pre-employment application. And so it's, that's often that has been a barrier in the past, I think, for folks, but it's legal in Michigan.
So for
and-
those of you who have
Yeah.
friends who partake and you just happen to be around and it shows up in your blood work, there's a pathway forward for employment. I think that's really important. Not only that, but you guys are doing some things with internships and all kinds of really cool things in terms of building pipelines for a diverse employment opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, we have roles right now, that are posted for high school and college co-ops as well as internships. And so there's a go ahead if you
No, I mean, that's pretty much what we have going on right now. We're in the process of kind of revamping it as well and just making it, better for the future. What can we do? And we also have really strong relationships with a lot of our schools, with Michigan Tech, Saginaw Valley, Delta College, and a number of other of our universities here in Michigan, because we can't do it alone. We have to build those relationships.
And do you have relationships with some of the local high schools or school
Oh,
systems?
absolutely.
Yeah,
I will
okay.
say Saginaw Public's one of my favorite. We were talking about Carleton earlier, and
Go Cavs.
Tiffany Peterson's the new superintendent out there, and I've known Tiffany for years, so I'm really excited to see her in that role and how we could possibly partner with Carleton in the future. Saginaw Townships, again, down the road from us. Hemlock Public Schools, especially, we helped to fund their Lockwood STEM Center.
They're right in the backyard.
They're right in our backyard,
Yeah.
and they're doing some amazing things with their students in the STEM field with robotics. And it's just fun to watch. But we have a lot of great connections with our local community because it's important.
Maybe
we
we-
need to work
Oh,
with our
sorry.
community there.
We got
That's
about
already
2.5 minutes left. I drove by there the other day, and there's a lot of activity going on. A lot of looks like things being built. Maybe you could talk about what's going on, and then are there jobs available? You've alluded to them, but maybe talk about what's available today.
And how to get to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yep. So you're right. We do have a big expansion going on. We had a groundbreaking of that in October of last year. It's really it's an exciting project to kind of take our technology to the next level. And we do have a lot of jobs open right now. I think I looked before I came. We have more than 20 jobs posted on our site, but just something to note on that, they're not all just single jobs. It's, a number of those have multiple, roles available for a single posting. You can find our jobs by going to hemlockjobs.com or hscpoly.com/careers. That's where all of our job postings are listed.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, sure. Hemlockjobs.com.
Hemlockjobs.com.
Or hscpoly.com.
If you need a job, go to hemlockjobs.com. It sounds like a commercial. Hey, but I have a job and I need a new one. Hemlockjobs.com.
There you go.
But I certainly appreciate, Mark, I'll let you go ahead because I know that you have some nostalgia feelings about.
Well, that's probably why I shouldn't jump into this.
Go ahead. No.
I just thanks again for coming in. I think again, I applaud the efforts that you guys are making to try to really reach out to the broader community. I would just encourage you to continue to do so. And any last messages you'd like to leave before we have 1 minute left here before we sign off? Any last comments or thoughts?
I think honestly, just we're excited to continue to do good work in the community. Looking forward to future opportunities, and I think you're gonna see a lot more coming from Hemlock Semiconductor pretty soon.
Well, Raquel, your name is coming up in every conversation throughout the community. We talked to Miss Ledesma. I'm like, oh, Raquel, that's my homegirl. Mi chica bonita. Yes. But it's great to have the two of you here. I love the accessibility that you guys have. You're open to the community. I'm hearing your name from arts to entertainment to STEM initiatives. You guys mentioned robotics. I was out there, saw you guys were sponsoring a team for First Robotics. It's great to see companies when they're giving back to the community. We want to thank you guys for continually doing what you do. And for those of you who are listening to us in the social media stream, we want to thank you for your continued listenership. And we want to say have an amazing day. God bless you all. Grace and peace.